How are we doing, builders? Welcome back to another Streamy TV video. And as I've been saying for the last few weeks and months, I'm bullish on silver, I'm bullish on gold, platinum, palladium, and I'm risk off on Bitcoin for the foreseeable few months as well. And what I said was, I'm not in Bitcoin, I'm not in crypto, I'm bearish, whereas on silver, I'm extremely bullish. And as I highlighted, well, before we get into that, Bitcoin, well, silver from the lows is up 42%. If we take it from the breakout and backtest of this fallen wedge, we are now up 24%, 25% on silver, which you can hold in a tax-free stocks and shares ISA, for example, which is what I've been doing, up 24%. And again, even from this higher low breakout here, we're up 21%. And I think it's going a lot higher. I think we can at least get up to these previous all-time highs back in January. In here, the sentiment for silver was silver's top, we're going lower. Whereas right now on Bitcoin, the sentiment is we've bottomed and we're going higher. And if you watch the two, silver, when they said it's going lower, it's going higher. And Bitcoin, everyone's saying it's going higher. I reckon it's going to go lower in the next few weeks. Anyway, back to this. In the Telegram, on the 25th of March, I said silver, will we get a fallen wedge breakout here or resolve lower? And I was extremely bullish, and I've mentioned on the channel in previous videos that I'm bullish. And in silver, and as you can see, we got this fallen wedge and boom, we had a breakout. And this was a chart from that at the time. This was how it was looking. And obviously since then, if we look at this price action, we're up massively on silver on what has been a phenomenal last year or so since August. Well, since we broke out in June of 2025 from this accumulation in here, when there was loads of money printing, and now we are starting to go parabolic, and 187 could be my long-term target on silver, which is a 2011 macro fib extension from the 2011 high to the lows in 2020 with COVID, all the way up 4.618 fib is $190 on silver. But back to this more short-term price action, I managed to get in here on silver in this area. I managed to accumulate in here and I'm riding the wave up now. Extremely bullish on silver. If we look at gold, we can see gold has just broken out of a 100-day downtrend, which is extremely bullish. Silver's taking the lead, but gold, if we look at this, that's 100 odd days there of gold going down from being up at $5,600, down 26% at its lowest again in the middle of March, and since then broke that downtrend, and eventually we're breaking this downtrend from the peak, and looks like we've broken it and back tested. And if we follow silver's taking the lead. We can also see platinum again looks similar to silver, and if we look at palladium again, this was the fallen wedge I was on about on silver. If I copy this and go back up to the silver chart, this is what I was mentioning at the time, a fallen wedge. Fallen wedge is a bullish chart pattern, that's why I entered. Characterized by two downward sloping convergent trend lines, the pattern is confirmed when the price breaks above the upper trend line with a rise in trading volume, which is what happened in here. But then back test and off we go, and a higher low in here. To project the expected price from the movement, measure the distance between the trend lines at the widest part of the wedge and add to the... Anyway, I reckon we can get to the previous all-time highs minimum. If not, we can go even higher. And I think everyone was on the wrong side of this move. Everyone was bearish on precious metals, and everyone was saying the bottom was in on Bitcoin, and I believe it's a complete bottom. And palladium is another one. I'm in here again. It's not made the moves that platinum has made. It's not made the move that silver has made, but I believe it's going to catch up in here. We've had the fallen wedge, we've broken out, and we're in this other bullish chart pattern here that I would expect to break to the upside fairly soon. So yeah, my outlook on precious metals for the summer, I am very, very bullish. But right now, as the title of this video says, silver bulls are an absolute dreamland. Well, obviously in addition to gold, silver, platinum, palladium, we've got copper at the highest it's been on this chart anyway. Let's just say for the last 26 years, copper is now at its highest. It's just smashed through the 1.618 fib. from the highs back in 2022 to the lows in 2022, and it's pretty impressive stuff. Previously finding resistance at this 1.618 fib at 6.24, but obviously had the lows back in March with the whole Iran and whatever war that was going on. All narrative at the time. We got the low and we've burst back up, and again with this kind of ascending triangle pattern building on copper for the last 4 or 5 years, and we're eventually starting to see the rewards, and copper looks like it's going to go absolutely parabolic here, obviously alongside our platinums, our palladium here, which if we look at the bigger picture on palladium, this is how we're looking. In here was that massive money printing, again highlighted in here, loads of money printing here, which again I think is why precious metals are doing so well. People realise that the fiat money is being debased at a rapid rate. There's going to be more money printing coming in the next few years, I'd imagine. And yeah, again, we can see in here silver. So again, I'm just so bullish on precious metals at the minute. And I can't say the same for gold on Bitcoin, unfortunately, until we get the 4-year lows later this year, which is what I'm expecting, and I've been covering on this channel. So in the short term, in the coming weeks, we'll cover gold, we'll cover silver, we'll cover platinum, palladium, and we'll cover copper as well. So yeah, exciting times ahead for the precious metals. Precious metals summer run up is what I'm expecting here. Obviously positioned in silver, gold miners, silver miners, and palladium. So always good, and I remain risk off on Bitcoin. Which again, if we look at the Bitcoin chart here, which is the 1-day chart, we can see that we're in this massive bear flag, in my opinion. On the way up, we see these corrective patterns before breaking up, these bull flags before breaking up, these fallen wedges before breaking up. But in downtrends, we get rising wedges and bear flags. And like we've seen here at the top, we come down, another bear flag come down, and another bear flag in process at the minute. Additionally, filling the 81k CME gap the other week, which was a massive magnet of liquidity at about $81,000, which we managed to get up and sweep, and Bitcoin's got to 82k. But now Bitcoin, from the lows back at the start of February, is up 35%, and loads of people are saying the Bitcoin bottom's in and the bear market is over and we're back in a bull market. But this just looks a lot like this pattern from November to January and this pattern from May to October. Again, if we actually zoom out and look at previous cycles, this is my overall theory on the market. We get the 4-year high in 2013, we then get 1 year of downtrend on Bitcoin. We get the 4-year high in 2017, a year of downtrend. We get the 4-year high in 2021, a year of downtrend, and we got the high in 2025. So again, the 4-year highs followed by 1 year bear market, and if we've got a year from this high, it would take us to October of this year, and that is still 5 months away from what would be a 4-year low coming later this year. If we were to repeat the previous 3 cycles on Bitcoin, which every time as well has seen us depreciating value 86%, 84%, 78%, and so far this bull cycle is only down 50%. So another 20-30% could be on the cards. And again, on here I've targeted the 0.786 fib, which is about $40,000 for Bitcoin. Again, we can see in the previous cycle, if we go from the bear market low in 2015 to the high in 2017, we can see we get below the 0.786 fib retracement at $4,000. Again, if we look from the 4-year low in 2018 to the high in 2021, in the 22 bear market, again, just below 0.786 fib, under $17,000. So I think the most dangerous thing to say this time's different, and as we've seen in previous cycles, we get the 4-year highs 2013, 17, 2021, 2025. We get the 4-year lows 2014, 15, 2018, 2022, 2026, and every time going down just below the 0.786 fib retracement, which again is what I'm expecting this time round. I don't expect anything different, before again being extremely bullish towards the end in the 2029 peak, which could see Bitcoin go absolute numbers if we get money printing this cycle. So again, on Bitcoin the next 3 to 6 months I'm bearish. before I think we're going to get 3 years of upside like we've seen in the past. Again, but right now, I think the play for me has been to get in silver and try and make money on silver over the next few months, whilst I believe Bitcoin and crypto market is going to go lower. So that has been my take on the market. But that is going to be all for this video. Let me know your thoughts on Bitcoin, the precious metals and stuff, and crypto market. But right now my overview is bullish on metals, bearish on crypto. And that is only short term, that's for the next few months. And then we will take it from there. But I do expect 4-year lows later this year in Bitcoin, and then off to Valhalla for Bitcoin and crypto. And I will be quickly flipping bullish. It's been painful being bearish on Bitcoin for the last few months and crypto when I'm the biggest Bitcoin bull. I think Bitcoin is the best asset in the world. But when you see the history of the downtrends and the 4-year cycle, I cannot fade it. So yeah, that's going to be all for this video. If you've enjoyed the content, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn the notification bell on, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, bullies.